Hi, and welcome to Two Tired Teachers.
We are coming at you from where we sit right now in our free camp spot. We are 10 miles away from the visitor center of Bryce Canyon National Park. We're going to have a video about the free camping that we're doing here as well. But
Bryce Canyon is one of the most unique, beautiful places we've ever been.
Otherworldly, I think, is a word that really would describe this canyon. It's not actually a canyon. But it is
kind of a canyon.
It's amazing. And
it is, much of it is in the Dixie National Forest.
And one thing we do want to mention is there are free shuttles, and you can park before you get to the national park, and especially if you're driving or towing anything.
A Class C.
It's easier just to go there. There's a stop at the visitor center where you can get out and go do all of the visitor center stuff you want to do.
And they'll take you to each place of interest and stop. You don't have to get off, but you can, and then you can get back on.
My suggestion would be look at their route, because they're going to go to all of the really popular viewpoints and trailhead, etc., that are right there. And then the ones that they don't go to, I'm thinking of that scenic drive all the way out.
Well, there is one that does that.
But the ones that do the regular loops, it's like every 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, you're not going to be waiting a long time. And so that might be one way if you want to lessen the stress of trying to park and all of that.
And parking is not easy.
Depending on the time of the day.
Stops.
And so just want to throw that out there. And also at that stop and throughout the park, there is a MultiUse Trail. And
it is wonderful.
We're actually going to get to the canyon and to the park in a second, but want to tell you about these other options. Yesterday, we parked at the shuttle place, got our bikes out, and rode that MultiUse Trail into the national park. And then we rode the...
It's not a big deal, but you're not charged if you go on the multi. That trail will handle wheelchairs, bikes, and pedestrians.
Yes, and so anyway, all of those things telling you there are multiple ways that you can go and experience and explore this amazing park. And once again, this is one of those places where you can see pictures. I had seen pictures before we got here. I had an idea, but until you're standing there and you see how massive this place is, how extensive these hoodoos are, and the hoodoos, it's actually erosion that has kind of taken away the softer surfaces, if you will, and exposed these harder areas. I'm not a scientist, and that's my understanding.
That are spires.
And it's just mind-blowing to see.
And when we first went into the park, I loved the forest, and it was beautiful. I kept asking Sharon, where are the hoodoos? Because I knew there were hoodoos. I just didn't know where they were. Finally, we saw them, and they are, in their own way, they are so beautiful.
And, you know, how we do these things, we're old, and so if you're traveling with children, it very well may be different. But what we did this with Arches, and we've done it here, and I think it worked well for us, is we kind of split the park into parts and then tried to do one section and didn't try to take it all in one day. And we did this scenic drive and those viewpoints. And that's another thing I want to say is time of day can make a huge difference. And so
in the evening when we went,
it wasn't nearly as crowded.
No.
But I was going to say those scenic overlooks, the ones that are out on that scenic drive, I believe every one of those was ADA accessible.
Yes.
You park, you can get out, and it's paved to go up to that overlook. And it's just mind-blowing what's there. It's just fascinating. And seeing those things, and it just is, there aren't really words for it. There are a variety of trails.
And the newspaper that they have will give you the difficulty, an easy trail, moderate, or strenuous.
And for example, I did the Mossy Cave Trail, which it said, it's not that far, but the elevation change was over 200 feet. And so you did do a little bit you had some grades going up or down, but of course those shorter trails are going to be a little more crowded. But there are a variety of trails you can choose from.
And what I've loved, it is the spring, it's May. Every day we've been here, there have been school buses from I don't know how far away, because this is kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but there have been school buses bringing 3rd and 4th graders, and maybe a little younger, a little older, elementary kids to the park to teach them about the things they see.
Which, by the way,
is why we know this fact.
I was over, eavesdropping on a ranger who told all the kids they were going to have to come smell this tree. And I wasn't where I could see, but he said everyone either smells butterscotch or vanilla. And so I thought, okay, we're camping in this same basic area, so we didn't look at all silly sniffing of a tree over here, and we both smelled butterscotch.
Yes. It's a ponderosa pine bark. And I don't know if it's different from the ponderosa pine, but the bark is. It's a more golden color, and it's...
Well, I'll take a picture of this, but I do want to tell you, on the other side of that same tree, I had pulled just a little piece of bark off. I'm sorry if I hurt the tree. And it smelled like pine. But then on this side, when I just smelled of the golden part, it smelled like butterscotch. So that was interesting, and we learned that. But this park has... there is a little city of Bryce City, which is a tourist.
Before you go in.
And all kinds of things that are there. They are working on the roads as we're here.
Particularly Ruby's stuff.
She owns a lot. But
I'll tell you this. Ruby's had postcards. I got 2 for 43 cents, and at the park stores, they're 50 cents a piece.
So... you can just rack up the savings right there. But anyway, this has been just an amazing park and very, very different. Also, another way you can explore this canyon or this area, and that is mule rides. I didn't realize they had them, but I happened to be at the Scenic Overlook as a group was starting to descend, and it was cool. We did see a group of mules crossing the road. They
I guess they were coming back from...
Yeah, they go from wherever they have them corralled, and they take them up what you would think would be a steep path until you see them descending it, but where they meet the people to get on. So if you're interested in that, that also might be something that you would want to make reservations for.
And again, like at the other parks, there is a ATV. They're popular here throughout.
Not in the national park.
Not in the national park.
They do not allow them in the national park. But if you're staying out in the areas around, then they're there.
But I've not heard one.
No. Oh, and another thing that's very popular, because the Dixie National Forest has this 18-mile trail, which we're actually going to have a separate video about that as well. It's by the Dixie National. But it's massive, 18 miles, and... 5 miles of it are in the national, Bryce Canyon. But there are bike rentals, electric bike rentals, and all kinds of things like that, because you can use those on that multi-use trail.
So if you've ever wanted to try an electric bike and haven't known where to rent one or try one,
and they are renting
rads.
It's
a great place.
Going to say that because we've seen...
And I think you could probably request a rad if
depending on which one, because there are... Along that bike path, as we're going toward the park, we've seen a number of places that rent. There is a place that rents ATVs, so you can go off on those trails.
And one that rents ATVs and bikes.
And e-bikes. And so bikes or e-bikes. So there's all kinds of rentals and things that you can do there as well. And I've enjoyed the different ways that we explored the park.
I have too.
It was nice driving out that scenic drive, but then I love just riding the bikes through and really getting a feel for the park itself.
Yes.
And the other advantage to riding a bike in the park is when we went on the more crowded, we went middle of the day, Many of the places they had rangers stationed were saying the lot is full, and you're having to turn around and come back. Well, if you're on a bike, you get to go to these places and see what's there. And so that's honestly one of the reasons we had gone up. A couple of places we wanted to see were full, and I said, let's go park and ride the bikes in. So that was a great option, and we enjoyed that. But this is, it's not disappointed. This is our fourth of the Mighty Five, and it's just mind-blowing. They're also different, and yet also amazing. And temperature-wise, we'll mention this. The elevation right here is 7,800 feet, something like that. And so the nights have been very chilly. The days are getting really comfortable and nice. Mid to upper 70s, I think, is going to be today. So, once again, this is mid-May. And so, but just let you kind of plan accordingly. We got down in the 20s one night, so it was a little chilly then. But this has just been an amazing stop on our travel through the Mighty Five, and we hope you've enjoyed our look at Bryce Canyon National Park. Thanks for watching Two Tired Teachers.